I've got with me live Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, MD Hiranandani Group. And good evening and welcome to the show, sir. And we all know that Indian real estate sector, continue to scale new heights. It's been a hot space as far as 2024 is concerned. You talk about positive market sentiments, economic expansion, urbanization, evolving lifestyles. Everything has actually resulted into more demand for this particular sector. The real estate sector, if you really talk about expectation, it is expected to reach a milestone of almost $1 trillion dollar by 2030, and also it also contributes a significant of almost 13% to the country's GDP. Now when we talk about expectation from the upcoming budget and looking at the way the sector is growing, quite a buzz which we are seeing right now, the industry is expecting not only an industrial status, but apart from that, a slew of measures talking about affordable housing, residential project segments. What are your thoughts on this?
There are many aspects of housing that need to be looked at in view of the fact that housing for all has not been achieved. The good point, is the fact that in the first cabinet meeting of Modi's 3.0, an announcement was made wherein affordable housing the PMAY scheme on affordable housing would be extended by 3 crore units. 2 crores for the rural areas and 1 crore for the urban area. As you are aware, that the earlier scheme also was very successful in all these years, and interest subvention was given in urban areas to more than 1 crore people, and I believe to rural also for 2 crore. So they are almost doubling the entire proposal. So that's the first, I think, move which we expect to be confirmed by the cabinet, by the finance minister in this affordable housing. The second issue, which I think will be covered, is the issue of tax deduction for home loans. For the last 10 years, tax deduction has been limited to 2 lakhs of rupees. There has been a clamor and demand to increase that, and we are hoping and expecting that that would be increased to at least 5 lakhs of rupees. So that's the second thing that is there. A lot of people are relying on home loans, long-term home loans, and this is something which is very, very important. And the third thing, which I can put across very quickly, is capital gains tax. In the case of investment in home, in real estate home, in the properties, the capital gains tax is for 3 years of holding, and it is 20% tax. While if you invest in shares, it is 1 year with 10%. So I think there's another clamor request to the finance minister that this all should be pari passu with investments into the capital markets, should also be in home loans. So these are the 3 first reaction requests to the finance minister in order to do it. The first, of course, is already done.
Will you also say that the government should look at strengthening the regulation around the sector, especially RERA, if we talk about, and single window clearance also, to smoothen the entire resolution process of stuck projects to accelerate the growth of the sector?
I think ease of doing business is most important in real estate. Land has been such a problem. It's partly due to the fact that it is also a state subject. So the regulatory holding and approvals is with the state government also. To add on to that, let me put it, the growth in case of affordable housing in the last 1 year has been negative, while the overall growth in the sector has been positive. So mid-housing and higher level housing has been there. But this is partly due to over-taxation, which has been done both by state government and the central government in terms of GST, stamp duty, tax on additional FSI that has been given, and other taxes which are levied by the local authority, state government, and the central government. So today in a city like Mumbai, 50% of the cost of the house almost comes due to the taxation which is there, or the state government actually, or the central government or local authorities are taking it back. So I think something needs to be really rationalized over there if you want to create affordable housing across the board. And this is something which we are clamoring. A good example example was given during the COVID times when Maharashtra government brought about a 50% reduction in the duties which are there in terms of additional charge for FSI, etc. And they reduced the stamp duty from 5% to 2%, which means a 3% reduction in stamp duty, which caused a very, very big spurt in housing across the board, especially affordable housing. So I think this is something which needs to be looked at. If you want growth and you want affordability, you need to do.
Could you also please elaborate on the downward tax revision and make changes to the GST input tax credit rules in order to reduce property prices and accelerate demand across asset classes? Could this be one of your demands?
Earlier, the understanding on GST is that there will be input tax credit for all inputs that are done. However, in the case of real estate, we are paying taxes but we are not getting any input tax credit. So our request to the government and the Council of Ministers who look after GST is to see that input tax credit should be given for real estate also along with the other industry. Also in the case of rentals that we are doing, especially in the case of commercial, the input tax credit does not come, though there is an 18% tax on commercial rentals that are collected by the government. So with no input tax credit for the construction cost GST that has been paid. So that needs to be done. One more thing which I must mention is the lack of any tax rebate ever in case of rental housing. I think that also needs now to be looked at. We are only talking about ownership housing, but as you know, this everywhere in the world, rental housing is a big issue, including for the young people who travel to new places for jobs. There is no benefit given in terms of tax relief in the case of rental housing. So I think developers should be given to create rental housing as much as they do for the purposes of regular housing, some sort of incentives to create rental housing stock, similar to what is happening in the case of commercial buildings, where you get FDI and investments by all the foreign investors who are coming into the country in a large measure. We would then be able to create rental housing stock in the country, which would help a lot of people, especially youngsters who are getting jobs in new cities.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.